Okay. Good afternoon, Jenny. Nice to see you again.
Hi, nice to see you.
How have you been since our last session? I recall that you were having some issues with your housework and getting things organized. How has it been since last time that we spoke?
It's progressively getting better. Um, I'm putting school into everything, and I feel like it's all coming along pretty well. I finally got my boyfriend to do things as I want him to, so that was a big issue from the last time that we spoke, and so things are getting better. Yeah.
That's great. That's great to hear. I recall that last session we spoke about you getting enrolled, which was your task to get done before this session. And I'm glad to hear that your boyfriend is helping you around with the things that you need to get done at home. How have you been with enrolling in school? Were you able to get around that?
Yeah, actually, really good news. I start in 2 weeks.
That's great. That's wonderful. How are you feeling about starting school finally that the date is approaching?
I'm very anxious to start. Um, it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot, and then on top of everything, I don't know if I mentioned it to you, but we actually finally bought a house. So now I have the anxiety of starting school, and I'm very nervous. I'm very nervous to start the renovations of our new place because we got kind of a fixer-upper. So it's gonna be a lot for me. I want to say that maybe I could start school, but then I'm gonna have to find a place to study in the meantime, because studying along with the renovation is gonna be impossible. So I'm very nervous about that.
Okay, so yes, definitely I can pick up that you're nervous and definitely anxious about clearing up your schedule and not having all of this fall on your plate, and it could be difficult to handle everything at once, so we can work together in figuring out a way for you to focus on school and get things with the renovation and the moving done. Have you thought about how you're going to organize your time now that you have this new project with your house?
Well, we already started moving some things. We've already. So I want to say that our stuff is kind of packed up already, ready to go into the new place. So as far as time, that was really time consuming, and I thought of doing it before moving. So at least I have that down. I mean, a lot of the renovations, I know I'm gonna have to help out because my boyfriend and I were trying to cut, costs here and there. So I haven't thought of it yet. I really haven't thought about how I'm going to actually plan it. I know I planned ahead a little bit and packed up everything before I start school, but now when we move and the whole renovation process, I'm not sure how we're gonna do it.
Wonderful. I could definitely see how you're gonna have to organize your time very, very carefully so that you do have time for school and you do get all things done for the move, because I know that those things are kind of planned in a time crunch, so you don't have an endless amount of time to get your things moved. Um, as far as planning goes, how do you plan on managing the time? Is there a certain approach you're going to take to balancing your time with school, work, and now that big move?
Well, no, I haven't figured it out. I kind of figured out school, and I think everything that you told me in the past has been very helpful. But I think it's totally something new, something that I've never done before. So it's really overwhelming. I mean, it's a lot to take in. So I'm not sure at all how I'm gonna do it.
Definitely, it is overwhelming, and because it is so overwhelming and you're already feeling some of that anxiety, it's important for us to find a way for you to get over the anxiety. Maybe recognize certain short-term anxieties and not let them, drag out and turn into very large anxieties, so that you can function properly and you can get things rolling with the move, but then again have the time and the energy and the focus for school. So one way that I found myself, to plan for things like this in the past is to kind of make like a planner, not so much as an agenda like you do now, like a to-do list, but kind of plan things over a span of time. I have some great templates for planning that I can maybe send to you through email. I know we've emailed in the past, so would that be okay with you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. So I will get those templates sent out to you after our session today, and you can use them accordingly. If you need any help, you can give me a call or email me back, and I can kind of let you know somewhat how I've used them. So with school, let's get back to school, which is our main point, and that's really what brought you to my office to begin with. How how are you feeling about school now that it's approaching? Do you have things organized for school? Are you excited?
I think I'm more stressed than excited.
Really?
I have it planned out, I have it organized, but it's still very stressful. And it's stressful just because I'm thinking of all the other things that are going on. And yes, I'm putting it as a priority. I'm trying not to think or give too much thought to the other things that are going on. But definitely, it's more stressful than the happiness feeling.
Well, let me ask you, that day that you finally went into school and you enrolled, what did you feel? Do you remember what you felt when you walked out of the admissions office?
I kind of felt relieved, like I finally did it.
That's great.
Mhm.
It's something that you mentioned you'd been putting kind of like at the back of your book of priorities, but it was something that you really wanted to get done. So I'm very happy that you felt relief because that means that you were able to somewhat lift off of a stress off your shoulders.
Mhm.
Um, Okay, so let's move on to the move, which I can see is what's causing you a lot of stress because now it's bringing a load of things that you have to get done. Tell me about your move. Tell me about your new place, how it's coming along.
Well, we haven't yet started doing anything, but it's gonna be a whole renovation. We have to rip down everything, like bathrooms, the rooms, the kitchen, the living room, everything. It's like a brand new project.
Okay.
The walls are there, but everything else is coming down.
Okay. Wow.
So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot, and like I said, since we want to cut costs, we want to try and do a lot of the things ourselves. So it's gonna be like a lot of weekend time devoted to this whole new renovation.
Okay. Definitely the weekend time because you have to keep going to work from
Mhm.
your 8 to 5
Yeah.
schedule, correct?
Mhm.
So because you mentioned school was your priority, you need to find a way, and we can find that way together using the scheduling that I spoke to you about in our prior sessions, so that you can schedule in school strictly for weekdays, and that way you can have all the weekend time for this renovation. How is what's going to be your role in the renovation, and how are you guys going to divide the time, or let's say the job between you and your boyfriend? Are you guys going to get any help from anyone else?
Yeah, we're definitely gonna get help. I want to say that the most of where my help is gonna be is just helping tear things down, like carrying trash out
Okay.
or just in the demolition process. Other than that, like tile work or installing things, I'm not gonna be much help. So I know that once the whole demolition is done, I think that I will be able to kind of use the weekend time again for myself. But school is starting in 2 weeks, and then I don't know how much time the demolition is going to take because it's a lot of stuff to bring down. So
Do you have a set date to start this demolition for the new place?
we haven't figured it out yet because we're still, I think, in the process of um, just moving in, seeing where we're going to put our actual stuff that we've already packed up, seeing where we're going to put it and where to start. Because I think we're both a little bit overwhelmed in that area.
Okay, so maybe since you're gonna start school already in the next 2 weeks, you can kind of get a hang of school, see what your syllabuses are, what they consist. Maybe schedule that first, and then bring in the move into that schedule so that you can plan one thing at a time, and that way it's not overwhelming for you to put two and two together, and it'll
Mhm.
you know it'll create a mess. So what exactly is stressing you out about both things? Is there something in particular that's overwhelming you about having to deal with both school and the move?
Yeah, because I know that school's gonna be very time consuming, and so I'm afraid that I mean I want to do good in school, obviously, and so I'm afraid that I'm gonna push school back again, that I'm gonna kind of go back to my same ways and just find something else to make a priority and not keep up with my mind of thinking of keeping school a priority.
Okay, so you're bringing something to the table that's interesting. You're saying that you think or you expect yourself to fall back into that pattern of pushing school to one side.
Hmm.
But once again, we've been working on scheduling, and you've done a great job of planning ahead. And even though you have had all this time and you hadn't gotten school into your plate, you went ahead and you went and got enrolled. So maybe thinking that way is bringing you down when you should, be thinking more positively and be more optimistic because you've come a long way. Um, would you say that now having this house and these additional expenses will motivate you to finish your degree, and that'll mean a higher salary and maybe less work time, and that'll give you more room to live comfortably?
I see what you're saying, and it does make sense. But at the same time, I know it's going to motivate me and it's going to make me happy to finish school, to be able to make more money, to be able to pay for the house and pay for the renovations. And but at the same time, I feel that it's also it's I guess it's like how you said, just positive thinking versus maybe not negative thinking or whatever. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. I think it's still frustrating me and it's stressing me and it's overwhelming and it's just a combination of things. So I don't know if that stress is gonna drive me in a bad place and kind of just forget school. I'm gonna cancel my classes, put it off again.
Okay, well, you can't think straight off the bat that it's gonna drive you into a bad place. We need to work together to get over the stress and maybe think of something that you can do a couple minutes a day, or do a couple times a week to relieve that stress and clear your mind, and that way you can figure out a way to balance everything else. Let me ask you, as far as this frustration, have you expressed that frustration with your boyfriend about having this move now and having to deal with the move and school now that you've finally enrolled?
Yeah, I have. I think he kind of doesn't even want me to help out with the demolition stuff, but I do want to help because it's a lot for one person. Even though we are gonna have help, I still feel like it's my duty. I'm gonna live there too. We're together, so I think it's my duty as well to help out. But he has been very understanding about it. But he's understanding, but at the same time, I think he wants a lot. Like he, even though he doesn't say it, like he talks about having kids, and he talks about, oh, like we have to get married, or and even though I'm excited about our wedding and planning it and everything, but it's just too much for me. And he does say, oh, I'll help you. Don't worry, I'll help you. But it's a lot to take in.
Definitely, it is a lot to take in. And how do you feel about these things that he's bringing to the table about wedding and kids? Is that something that's in your plan? What do you think about those things?
It isn't my plan, but I kind of wanted to push it further along than he does. He wants it more now, and since I'm not done yet, I kind of want to wait a little bit longer.
So you feel like you're not ready for those steps yet?
Hmm.
Okay. It's important for you to be comfortable with those steps because obviously you have a lot of things that you want to get done, and like you said, you're not ready because you're not done with your school. You're not, very comfortable at work yet. Um, what would you say? When would you think, or what would it take, or what would you have to finish for you to be ready for all these things? Have you guys spoken about those things, or have you thought about the wedding or the kids?
I'm putting all those thoughts to the side because every time that I talk about it with my boyfriend, we kind of have different views on it.
Okay.
So it does become a discussion, not in a bad way, but it does become a discussion because he wants it now. And then I really want to finish school. Like, that's my top goal. I really want to finish school. I really do want to have kids too. And I want a beautiful wedding. And I want to finish our house so we can bring all these other happiness into our life. But at the same time, I really want to finish school, and I feel like all these other things are going to stop me from finishing school.
What when you mention happiness, you would you say that finishing school would be your main source of happiness before all of these other things that your boyfriend is also planning and wants now instead of later?
Yeah, yeah, it definitely would be, just because I feel like that's what's gonna help me grow in all these other areas. Yes, I want to have kids, but am I gonna have the time during school to really take care of my kids? So I want to finish school just because I want to have kids, but I want to have time for them. I don't want to just be reading a book or having to study, and they're there crying, or they have to change their diaper or something, you know?
Would you say that maybe your boyfriend's want of a family now and taking those big steps forward, would you say that that's adding to your anxiety, or is that the source of your anxiety about not being able to finish school?
I think it might be the source of my anxiety. Um, because I kind of thought that I was getting the hang of school. You know, I was really motivated, and I went. I'm enrolled. I'm gonna start. But now there's just so much more going on that I think that that's once again bringing in so much more anxiety into my life.
Okay, so definitely even this speak of or these ideas of creating a family and maybe even the move and the renovation is maybe setting that milestone in your mind of okay, once we're done with this move then maybe he'll want kids right away. Is that maybe what is it?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's that he doesn't have to go to school. He doesn't have to do anything like me. He works and he has a good job and he's fine. He's done with what he has to study. But I have to keep going. And so I think we're at different points in our life where I need to keep growing, and he's pretty much where he wants to be. He's comfortable and he wants to grow in other areas. But I need to finish school.
Okay,
So
have you spoken to him or expressed that to him that you feel like you're not there at the same level as he is, that you still have all these goals and you have all these things that you want to do before you get married and before you have kids?
we have spoken about it, but he says that no, that he knows that we're both at the same level and that we can both do it. And he went through the studying already, so he knows what I'm going through. But that it's fine. Everything's gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be okay, and you can do it, and we're gonna do it. And but I don't feel that way.
Why do you think um, you're not feeling that way as he is? Um, let me clarify. Why do you think he's feeling that you're ready and that you're done and that everything will be okay?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think he's putting himself in my shoes. I think he's just thinking of himself, like where he's at, not where I'm at.
Okay. Well, definitely, I could sense that there's a bit of miscommunication with your feelings towards these goals and this plan of having a family and moving in and this renovation. And I can understand why you're getting anxious. So I would say that maybe speaking to him about it would be very productive before you guys start the renovation and get ready to have this home, your first home, correct?
Hmm.
That's actually yours. Um, just because you do have to prioritize and finish school because that's important to you, and maybe he's not seeing that right now and maybe he's just rushing because he's excited that you guys finally have your first home. So would you say that maybe speaking to him would be easy, or do you think that would be a difficult task to talk to him about something like that and tell him, we need to hold on, let's just focus on me finishing school and maybe focus on the renovation and then think about what will come next? Do you think that'll be something hard to do with him? Would he be easy to talk to about that?
No, I could talk to him about it. He's understanding. I think it takes him a while to actually realize what we both have to do, but he is very understanding, and I think that that's actually a very good way to put it. And I do need to lay everything out and tell him exactly how I feel.
Well, yeah, I mean, getting your feelings out there to him will make him, realize or put himself in your shoes, like you said, so that he knows that, you're very overwhelmed because you're starting school again, and you're not only going to school, you're also going to work and helping pay for the bills, and now this renovation. And even though he wants you to do school and not worry about the house, I can totally understand why you would want to be there for the construction of your place because you want your input. So we would have to put that in our to-do list, between meeting our goals as far as what we've been speaking for in the last couple of weeks, talking to him and getting your feelings out there and making sure that you are both on the same page. Um, would you think that maybe clarifying that with him would take off a bit of your stress or your anxiety?
Yeah, definitely.
And after this issue with the milestones that you guys are trying to meet, what else would you consider? Well, what would you be comfortable with working towards next, as far as timing and scheduling and handling this renovation and school? What would you want to tackle next? School or just the renovation, or would you kind of do a mix of both? What would you be most comfortable with?
I think I would have to mix both in.
Both.
Yeah, just to get both things out of the way.
Out of the way. Um, so like I mentioned to you, I'll send you the templates definitely for you to plan your time and plan step by step. I don't want you to plan, oh, Monday I'm gonna do this or Tuesday, because you still don't have a date for the renovation to begin, but you do have a school date to begin, and so you want to put your main focus on school. Um, when you get to state, do you know how soon you'll get a date for the renovation to begin? Do you know if it'll be in a couple of weeks, in a couple of months?
It'll probably be in the next week or so.
Okay, so you have a scheduled date for a week.
Mhm.
Um, so that's great. You can maybe even leave it for our next session. We could speak about what date they gave you, what the plans are. I think it'd be great for you to look through that template I'm going to send you, and there are a list of things that are maybe just thought of, like ideas of what you need to do to a new place. And kind of make a list of all the things that you want to accomplish in that new place. Maybe even speak to your boyfriend, say, in the next 6 to 8 months, we want to have the kitchen up and running or have the flooring or, all those things, and just check mark them little by little. Um, what are you doing right now as far as relieving your stress?
Nothing.
Nothing. It's very important. Stress relieving is very important. You need to set some time for yourself. Do you have, 10, 15, 20 minutes after work or before work or during lunch that you would be able to dedicate to relieving some stress so you can get some of the anxiety and frustration out
Yeah, I could probably do it during lunch.
during
Just
lunch?
yeah.
Have you ever considered maybe meditating and doing some breathing exercises that might work for you? I know it worked for me in my undergrad years. I had a very hard time coping with all the stress. I could also send you some of that information. You could read up on it and see if it interests you, and we can talk about it in our next session.
Yeah, that would be great.
All right, Jenny. Well, I'm very excited for you that you're handling all these things, and I'm very happy that you've managed your time and that you're enrolled in school, and I know that you'll do great. So by next week, you should have a date for your renovation, and we can kind of work around that time. But look at those templates that I'm going to send you and see how you work around them and how you use them. And I look forward to hearing what your boyfriend and you spoke about and how you guys establish a timeline of how you guys can get things rolling so that you can focus on school and get ready for what's coming next, and that way you guys can enjoy the renovation and then worry about all the rest of the things.
Yeah,
Okay?
thank you.
It was nice having you, and I look forward to seeing you in our next session.
Thank you.